Well, good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. This is the week of April 27th, and we're going to talk about two things today. We're going to talk about the length of an arc, and an arc is a portion of the side of a circle. And then in the second lesson, we're going to talk about how to find the area of the sector that's formed here. So to do this, we need to know a couple of things. First thing we need to know is for pi, we're going to use 3.14. Okay? And if you'll remember, the measurement of the circumference of a circle is equal to 2 times the radius times pi. Okay, and all that this section represents here is the portion of the total circumference that's covered by 60 degrees. And remember, a circle is equal to 360 degrees. So we're going to use proportions in this, and the proportion we're going to do is the measure of the central angle divided by the total measure, which is 360, has got to equal the length of the arc, which we're going to call x in each case. We're going to call this one x, this one x, this one x, and this one x. And that's got to be the same proportion as the circumference. So, in order to solve the problem, the first thing we have to do is calculate the circumference. Okay? Well, we know the formula for that. It's 2 times the radius times pi. So, in this case, the radius is 20 feet. So we have 2 times 20 times pi, which we said we're going to use 3.14. And that's the circumference, okay? So if we do that calculation, 2 times 20 times 3.4, we get 40 times 3.4, and that's going to be equal to 125.6. Okay? All right, now what do we do? Well, now we know a ratio. The central angle is 60, so if we take 60 over 360, because remember, the total is always going to be 360, that's got to equal the ratio of this piece of the circumference, which is x, divided by the total circumference, which is 125.x. And if you'll think back to how we used to solve proportions, the way we solved them was we cross-multiplied. It was the butterfly method, if you'll recall. It looks like a butterfly wing is coming this way. So 360 times x is 360x. Has got to equal 60 times 125.6. Well, 60 times 125.6, let me get my calculator because I can't do that one in my head. 60 times 125.6 is equal to 7,536. 7,536. So to even it up, all we have to do is divide this by 360 to get a single x. So we end up with x. Well, if we divided this by 360, we have to divide this by 360. So x ends up equal to 20.9. Okay? Because 7536 divided by 7536 divided by 360 is 20.9333, which rounds to a single digit of 20.9. Okay, let's go through the flow here. We calculate the total circumference. Then we set a ratio of the central angle to 360 has got to equal what we're looking for over the total circumference. And when we cross multiply, we're always going to end up with 360x is equal to a number. We divide both by 360, and that will give us the length of that arc. So let's try another one. Let's look at number 6 up here. And let's remember all of this stuff that we've got here. Measure of the central angle over 360 is equal what we're looking for over the circumference. So we got to calculate the circumference first. So circumference in this case is equal to 2 times a radius of 4 times what we're using for pi of 3.14. So if we do that multiplication, we get 8 times 3.14, and so the circumference ends up being equal to 25.12. So all we got to do is set up our proportion. We know the central angle is 240, okay? So we take 240 divided by the total, which is 360, has got to be equal to the piece we're looking for divided by the total circumference, which is 25.12. So if we cross multiply, we end up with 360x is equal to 240 times 25.12, which I got to calculate here. It's 6,028.8. Okay. We divide by 360 on this side so that we end up with a single x. And that means we got to do the same thing to the other side and divide by 360. And when we do that, it will round to 16.7. Okay? So no biggie here. I mean, it's the same process. So let's take a look at 7 and 8, and then I will leave you to work on your assignment. But if we're looking at number 7, we got to calculate the circumference. And we know that the circumference is equal to 2 times the radius, which is 3, times pi, which is 3.14. And so we have 6 times 3.14, and the circumference is equal to 18.84. All right, we set up our ratio. Our central angle is 90, so we end up with 90 divided by 360 is equal to the piece we're looking for divided by 18.84. Okay, let's cross multiply here, and we get 360x is equal to, big number, 1,694.6. We divide by 360 on both sides. Okay. These go away and we're left with x. Since we had to divide by 360, we divide here. And when you divide 1694.6, that's a 6 by the way, by 360, you get 4.7. So the total of this is 1884, and the length of x is equal to 4.7, and 4.7 times 4, because 90 divided by 360 is 1/4. So if I take 4.7 times 4, I get 18.8, which is the amount of my circumference. All right, last one. Nothing different. The circumference is equal to 2 times the radius, which is 16, times 3.14. So we got 32 times 3.14. That makes this equal to, the circumference is equal to 2 times 16 times 3.14 is equal to 37 point, well, wait a minute, I did something wrong. Let's clear this one out. 2 times 3.14 is equal to 6.28 times 16 is 100.48, okay? 100.48. So let's just set up a ratio. We got 225, which is the central angle, divided by 360 has got to be equal x, which is the piece we're looking for, divided by the total circumference, which is 100.48. And if we cross multiply, we get 360x is equal to, big number, 22,608, I believe. Let me check that. If we take 225 times 100.48, we get 22,608, 22,608, and we divide that by 360 on both sides. We end up with an x here because those go away. Divide by 360 here, and we end up with x is equal to, let's see, 22,608 divided by 360. X is equal to 62.8. Okay? As you can see, every one of these is the same. We start by calculating the circumference, then we set up a ratio, or actually a proportion, and do our cross multiplication, and we get down to the answer. I'm going to be asking you guys to do problems 1 through 4, and problems 1 through 4 are well, they're the same problems. You start the same way, and move along. That's all there is to it. All right, I'll be back with lesson 2 in a few minutes. I hope you guys are having a great time. I really miss y'all, but hopefully we'll all be back in the building come August. So thank you very much.